Welcome back to another Grail auction. Tonight, we are auctioning off the ReMint passes for tomorrow's show, where we'll spin the wheel and you'll get one of 10 potential items. So every minute, we're going to have one going off. I'm pulling up the screen right now so we can see what's going on. So we got 4 minutes left. We got 4 minutes left on ReMint pass number 1, all the way down to number 10, which closes in 13 minutes. I'll have opening bids. And in this lot, you'll be able to get 1 Genesis, 2 hologram Chibi galaxies, 1 alien Chibi, 2 Chibi apes, and 4 Chibi galaxies. We'll spin a wheel. Each person will have a chance at that Genesis 153, and the art will reveal live tomorrow. Also with us, we have a member of the Chibi team, Spasta. Welcome to the show.
What's up? How we doing?
Doing well. I mean, it's been a fun week out in NFT land. How are things going for Chibi Labs?
It's been a crazy couple months. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a crazy year, but the last probably 2 months has been probably the biggest test amongst the NFT industry in terms of who's gonna make it through the bear market and who's gonna kind of fold under the pressure. So fortunate for us, we have an amazing community, we have an amazing collector base, and we have an awesome team. We've been building for a very long time. Our first mint was a week before the Bored Apes, so it's we've been able to kind of show that staying power throughout this entire time, just kind of creating value and delivering to our community along the way. So that's kind of been the most important thing to us. But we always love coming on here doing the remints. Our community really enjoys the process, especially if there's a chance to win Chibi Genesis.
I think it's interesting you guys had such a low supply on Genesis, and now you hear people say, "Oh, there's too much supply, secondary stuff." And way back in the day, did you? Is that kind of a lucky guess, or did you just plan on low supply right away?
So actually, the backstory is our founder, my co-founder, and the original artist, who's still our artist, Fabs, was really kind of just developing these characters as kind of a passion project. Had a really small community that he developed, and then we kind of came into the community as collectors first, and then became co-founders on the project when we realized that there was really just an amazing concept behind the art here that we were going to help bring to the masses. So the original Genesis collection was always meant to be capped out at 200. We're up to 153. That's for tomorrow's reveal. And yeah, there's only going to be 200 of those ever. I mean, you see the floor is down, I guess, with the rest of the market, but the floor in this has been as high as I think maybe 10 ETH at one point in the past. So this has been really kind of our grail collection. This has been the OG collection that always has the highest utility. Our past 2 drops have always had really awesome redemptions connected to them. The last drop, the Friends drop, you were able to collect a holographic egg. The previous drop, you were able to collect a holographic galaxy. So there's always fun stuff connected to this, and it's kind of like the aspirational collector item in across our 4 collections.
I mean, even in a tough market, it's doing a lot better than most projects.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is probably the least liquid collection of ours.
Yeah.
This is 200. The apes were 35. Sorry, the apes were 3,000. Galaxy were 3,500, and the Friends were 10,000. I'd say probably the most active collection we have right now is the Friends, just because it's tied to the Chibi Friends game. But there's always going to be a buyer base for these Chibi Galaxies. Chibi Genesis. People love them. They're obviously my favorite collection. They're all one of one, so they're completely unique and differentiated. And the artwork is just amazing. Fabs just does an amazing job of me. So
They are cool. And I noticed on the website there's some cool things that seem to be coming down the line. How's the game coming? And then Singularity in phase 4
yeah, so
on the
the
roadmap.
game actually launched in April. So the game was connected to our Chibi Friends launch. Chibi Friends are our a companion collection. It's also the first evolutionary NFT. So they start as an egg and they transition into a baby and then into a fully grown pet. And this all happens through the proprietary Chibi Friends game that we created. So we're really proud of that. We launched the collection and then launched the game a week later. So it's always important to be able to deliver to the community as we do, and our community is super active in playing our game still, which is always awesome to see.
That's cool. How many people out of the entire holder community, I guess, have played the game? Over half, third, 75%.
I'd say probably 50% of our collectors have actually played the game. I'd say a smaller percentage, but like we have over 100 daily active users on the game, which doesn't sound like a lot, but we're not a massive community, but like the NFT space as a whole isn't such a big community, so it's good to see people come back, night after night to come play our game, and it's fun. There are weekly prizes and contests that we have connected to it, so people really love it.
And that's still impressive. If I mean, 4,000 people did the other side demo, having 100 and with yours in a smaller community, that's I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of at all.
Yeah, I look, as I said from the beginning, we have a really strong foundation of a community. Some folks who have been around for over a year, which is really amazing. We're not one of those collections that have, maintained over an ETH floor. We have four collections, so
Mhm.
obviously each floor price is different, but we have a really mighty community who really shows up when we need them to. So
What are your thoughts? I'll ask a tough question on kind of the creator royalty and some of the discussion going on right now.
yeah, so my feeling around the royalties, and look, the royalties are not nearly as lucrative as they once were, but I've always viewed this project as a business, and I've
Mhm.
always viewed our royalties as operating capital. So, I'm all for it. It's not the type of situation where we're taking royalties and pocketing or anything. This is going back to the community. It's being reinvested into our collectors and our collections and our ecosystem. So, I think it's great. It all depends what you do with it. I mean, there are a lot of bad actors out there doing a lot of nefarious things with their royalties, but every project's different.
Yeah, it's a tough question to answer. Yeah, I mean, you see the people that kind of pay themselves first. You see the cars, and who knows? It's a weird spot, and it's kind of cool. I mean, I don't know if it's cool or not cool that pseudo swap can just come in and kind of change everything, but that's the industry.
Yeah, it's no, that wasn't SudoSwap. That was X2Y2.
Yeah, X2Y2, and then pseudo swap, the decentralized exchange. They're both kind of
Yes.
doing it together, but
Yeah, I guess.
to an extent.
Yeah. Look, it's interesting. I mean, to be transparent, we haven't even gone on to kind of like claim our royalties from um looks rare from X2Y2. So like we only just focus on OpenSea. So we do such a small percentage of our revenue on there that it's not even like meaningful to us. So
Appreciate you answering that. Yeah, I don't think I've traded anything on X2Y2. It's normally
well,
OpenSea.
maybe you have, because sometimes when I sweep stuff and I like
Yeah,
buy like on Gem or something like that, I'll
it's
buy
true.
something off of X2Y2, but I don't actively like search on there.
Outside of Chibi, are you buying, selling, or are there other communities you're invested in that you also enjoy?
Yeah, so I've been in the Web3 space for a really long time. I've been investing in NFTs for over 2 years right now, starting back like early days Top Shot.
Mhm.
I still have, a small Top Shot portfolio. I was once probably like a top 100 collector, but I've sold a lot over time. Um, I um, I have a lot of Yuga assets. I have a couple doodles. I have moonbirds. Like, there's some things that um, I I'm looking to move at this point. I think I've come to the realization that there's no need to own six doodles. Like I own
Yeah.
six at the peak, and I've since been selling them because like I'm happy to own just one big asset from each community. Because at some points you find yourself overexposed, and you're almost like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And when things were good, they were good. When things are bad, it's just like it's a little bit out of control. So I'm comfortable with my exposure to NFTs right now. I also, my basis on NFTs is so low because I've been in the space for so long. So I'm fortunate enough to be in that spot. But yeah, I still have a lot of the blue chips. Obviously, my biggest bag is in Chibis. I'll collect Chibis till I die just because I love them. But yeah, that's kind of where I am across the ecosystem right now as a collector.
Yeah, it's kind of like whenever Kevin Rose or anyone takes the stage, it's going up or it's going down. You kind of just brace for impact.
Exactly.
What did you think Grails 2, if you were in on that at all?
Um, what, the Moonbirds?
Yeah, the Moonbirds Grails 2, if you had one of the mint passes for the artwork.
I did not.
Ah, I thought it was really cool that he did like a whole live stream and revealed the artist, and it was a well put on production.
Yeah, look, anything he's gonna do is gonna be professional. He's a consummate professional, and I'm in a similar position to him. I'm kind of a Web 2 operator crossover to Web 3, so I really kind of respect people who are doing it. Um, it's a different mindset. Just being a full on Web 3 operator, being a first time operator, it definitely has its positives and its negatives. I'm seeing a lot of first time operators trying to operate and manage these projects and not realizing that they're really operating businesses. They're not realizing that they're collectors or their consumers. And as a result, I think there's just kind of irresponsibility in certain actions and the way people respond to certain things. And obviously, you never want to see this, but people just completely walking away from their communities and their collectors and rugging projects, which is just such a horrible thing. But that's what happens when you're a non-doxed founder and you're hiding behind wallets and
Yeah,
addresses and stuff like that. It's like
Tornado Cash.
I've been from day one, front and center. I'm doxxed. I'm a very public person. You could go check history on me through press releases and things like that from my other businesses. So I thought that was really important, and I think accountability is really important in the space, and you don't see much of it.
Yeah, like PXN stealing other people's art like months ago. I remember that, and that getting kind of obliterated. So we got two left, 0.06 ETH bids for a chance at that Genesis for the big reveal tomorrow. What do you think is the biggest difference between a Web 2 business and a Web 3 business over the years?
I think Web 2 business. A friend always says Web 1 was read, Web 2 was read and write, Web 3 is read, write, and own. And I think the difference being that there's a sense of democratization amongst Web 3 companies where the community and the collectors almost feel like democratized owners of an ecosystem and of IP. So I think it's very different in Web 3. In my previous companies, I've always had investors, I've always had consumers. Here, I have kind of consumers that are investors. So I'm always very inclusive in terms of sharing information with the community because I feel like what's good for the project is good for the community and kind of, everyone participate in the upside over time.
One final lot, and yeah, I think it's interesting. The access to customers is so much closer. I have to like you can go on the Discord and read the vibe instead of getting
Totally.
a few emails back from the angriest customers that you've had.
And that's one of the things I've talked about time and time again because I've been, helping, corporate companies enter the space and try to help them do it authentically. And I'm like, you will get instant, real time feedback from your consumers, and it's really kind of a special thing, for better or for worse. It's also scary how much access people have to you, but
Yeah.
it's like if you build your community the right way, like I've been doing this for a year and definitely there have been fudders along the way, but like I've been part of other communities where there's some really nasty people. We have just really, really good people, educated people in the space. And that's part of it. We've taken the time to nurture those relationships, educate our consumers, and we feel good about where our community is.
Mhm. So before we wrap, tomorrow is going to be the big reveal at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern. For the Genesis, the Hollows, the Aliens, any final thoughts on the lot going out tomorrow?
This is a very rich lot. I think people are going to be really excited at this. Obviously, the Genesis is the big one. There are two hollows in there, which are also incredible. Hollows, traded at a pretty average floor for a long time between 3/4 of an ETH and an ETH. Uh, Obviously, the Chibi apes in there, which are great, and five galaxies. So it's with the ending prices of some of the auctions, there's almost no downside to this. So everyone's going to come away close to a winner here. So it's really good to see. I'm pumped for my community.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for the time tonight. It was great chatting it up. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and congratulations everyone that's going to be in the lottery tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Of
Look
course.
forward to tomorrow.